I think that people that are hungry find a way. I love your story. I know just a little bit of it. I'd love for you to share your story of how you actually got connected to Graham and are doing the work you're doing now. It's a wonderful, wonderful story.
Thanks. I think that at the time when I was younger, I just really, really, really wanted to make money. Like I wanted to make good money in the same way that, Graham, I know, was the same. Like you just wanted to be a high earner.
Did that come from abundance or scarcity?
I think a little bit of scarcity, honestly. I think
Were you low income growing up?
No, we were comfortable, but honestly, I thought that we were lower income. The reality of the situation was not that.
Right.
Yeah. And so like no fancy vacations. Our vacations were like backpacking trips, camping trips, going out to dinner was McDonald's a lot when I was a kid. And so I just didn't think that we were okay financially. And then I would see some distant family members that were very successful financially. And I'd be like, I have to be just like these people. So I had kind of like, I had a North Star, like something to aim at. And so, yeah, I tried a bunch of side hustles. Like it was easy for me to motivate myself to try to work really hard and try to start up a business. So I tried drop shipping, I tried day trading, I tried a bunch of different random businesses that are really creative that I think they could have some legs if I had pursued them.
If the timing were right.
If the timing were right, yeah. And then, I saw Graham, and Graham was saying things that my dad had taught me growing up. So I knew he wasn't like a charlatan preaching some financial literacy stuff that wouldn't actually have positive yield. And, Roth IRA, credit card, but be responsible with the credit cards.
Yeah, you won't get struck by lightning.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I must be able to, I'm able to trust this guy because he's reaffirming something my dad is saying. And so I just emailed him a bunch of times and I was like, I just want to help out with what you're doing.
How old were you, by the way?
19, I think.
Yeah.
19.
And how many emails or communications were sent until you got some type of
8.
response?
I think 8.
I think we got 8
and it was
of them.
over the course of like
6
several months.
Okay.
Yeah.
What led to, I'm going to jump back and forth because I love this. What led to you or your team actually getting back to Jack?
It was me. I didn't have
It
a
was
team.
you. Okay.
Everything was
So
me.
after 8, you're going, what? I got it.
No, it was, so I didn't see the prior 7.
Okay.
I didn't check the email. It was rare. But I had this Facebook group that I created. And to get in the Facebook group, you have to give your emails, like the question. And I thought I could build up this Facebook group and get like 50,000 emails that I could then use to either like promote videos or just random communication. So you had to go in manually and like copy and paste the email in an Excel spreadsheet. And it was just time consuming. And it would take like 7 hours to do this myself because I do it like once a week. And no one wanted to do the Facebook emails. And I started asking people like, I'll pay you $20 an hour, just do the Facebook emails. And people said, oh yeah, I'll do it. They never did it. And I just happened to be at a red light. I opened my email and Jack had sent me an email saying, I'm willing to do anything. I just want to work. Let me know what I have to do. And the Facebook opportunity was there. And I said, well, if you want to do, here's Facebook emails. And he was so excited. I just called him. And I said, yeah, if you want to do it, like it's boring work. And he did it overnight. He was the first one who just finished it. And then he came back to me. He's like, all right, it's all done. What next? And that's where like, okay, let's see what's there. Maybe there's some other stuff we could work on. So we met for dinner. And I shared that I had this idea for what was called the Graham Stephan Show. It was based off the Dave Ramsey show at the time where people would call in.
Sure.
And I said, well, how about I do an Instagram post, get people, and you filter through the people and just set up the phone calls. And he did.
And I want you to describe for the audience what your emotions were in those early days where you have the dinner. Oh my gosh, I got a hold of this guy. Now I'm actually doing stuff for him. Now we're plotting or doing more and more and more. What was the emotion for you as a young guy who took this chance?
That's a great question. It's funny because I think about that a lot because I don't think that I'm the same as I was. Like when I was younger, I had like an insatiable hunger to try to do something. And I look back and I remember when Graham called me that first time, I was in the car with my girlfriend at the time. I remember exactly where I was. I was at an ATM. And
bidding.
Yes,
I was at
ironic.
ATM. Yeah. And,
Counting my cash.
and I remember he called me and he's like, hey, it's Graham. And I just remember, oh my gosh. I
Right.
said that on the phone. And then I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. And then I was like, okay, hey, how's it going? Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, it's so nice to meet
Sure.
you. Cool. Yeah. And then, I started doing the work for him. And when he was giving me this work, I saw it as like me doing something meaningful with my life. At the time, I was working at a restaurant, and while I did enjoy it, sometimes I felt like I wasn't contributing towards a greater good. And I see what Graham's doing, promoting financial literacy. And I'm like, that seems like how much more could you help people than to teach them the correct ways of saving, budgeting, investing. And so I wanted to help out, and I just felt like I was doing good, and it was a massive opportunity. He also had a video where he talked about like, how lucrative it is to be a YouTuber, and that motivated me too, because I'm like, okay, well, there's actually legs to this. I can actually make money doing this, so it's a viable option. And then I was just super excited the entire way through. Any minute he texted me, and he would text me with any sort of responsibility. I was just like, this is a massive opportunity. I have to seize this.
Sure.
Anything I can do with you. I just wanted to spend as much time as I could on the cause.
Yeah. And I love that, in order to do what you want to do professionally, you've got to be around people that are doing that and in places where that work is happening. That's the proximity principle. I wrote that book, 2017. To this day, the best-selling book that I've written. And the reason I bring that up is because I remember in the early days being 32, 33, and you guys know my story, trying to get into broadcasting. And I remember if I had the guts to just reach out to somebody and they reach back, I always took it as, okay, this is just a slight bit of validation that you're not cuckoo, number one. And number two, it's possible. The door has cracked open a little bit. I'm assuming you must have felt some of that as you began to work with him and grow in the role. You had to be going, I saw this and now I see it happening.
It was weird because when I was younger, I had some sort of confidence that I was able to provide a lot of value, but I had no evidence to back it up. And so while my brain was telling me, Jack, you're capable of amazing things, the reality of my situation was like, you're not. And so I had this weird dissonance, and I had this like delusions that I was able to do that. And then finally I got put in a position where I could see some light at the end of the tunnel, and then everything rose to the occasion. So yeah, I would say absolutely. You need to be surrounded by the right people that can actually put some evidence and some weight behind some beliefs about yourself.
And from your perspective, how attractive is just good old-fashioned hunger?
Yeah, Jack always showed up. He was, and he did everything. It was really good. I mean, he just did great work. I had nothing to complain about.
As it is now. Now you co-host a show. I don't know the specifics of the working relationship, but how has those early days shaped what is now a very different relationship?
It was just one thing at a time. Like it went from the Facebook emails to then the Graham Stephan show. And then he was picking people for that would call in. And then it went from that to, can you edit these? And then it went from, can you edit these to then, can you edit the reaction videos on that channel? And then it came, well, now that you're editing this, you could get a cut of what the channel makes. And then COVID happened and everything was kind of shut down. And that was just around the time where you were figuring out if he was going to college or not for that like last year. And I'm like, dude, don't go. Like things are just picking up right now. And that channel that he was editing was really beginning to take off. And so we came to an agreement where it's like, hey, I'm going to promise you'll make X amount this year. And your worst case is you go back to college, but like this is a good chance. And I don't know how many people you asked their opinion of like
Everybody. Yeah, I ran it by everybody. And at
What
this point,
what was the percentage of do it or forget it?
for me, I never wanted really to be in school. So if I was being hedonistic, then I would have pursued business with Graham. And then in terms of logic was a little bit like, who knows? Who's to say what the right decision is? Obviously, I could see Graham's confidence and conviction that it would be a good idea, but I'm like, okay, like obviously, the guy that wants to employ me full time is going to want to employ me full time. And then I saw my parents, and they're like, they went to college, they do okay. You know, that's the more traditional, tried and true method. And so I don't know, the logic was pretty split.
Yeah. But in terms of also like expanding on that, I forgot to mention that before he made the choice about college, we had just started the Iced Coffee Hour.
Yeah.
That was April or May of 2020. And that was Jack's idea. And this is Jack's way of like really providing value in that he came up with the idea of a podcast and a way that I could leverage what the work I was doing on my other channel to build something and spin something off that was completely different. And Jack handled all the back end of that. He said, all you have to do is show up, and I'll take care of everything else.
If you enjoyed this video, click here for our full conversation.